Hello TRT clients, it's a pleasure to have our third TRT review. It's the May 14th TRT report. Of course, I'm Jeremy Zwinger, the president of the Rice Trader. Unlike the last few, I'd say this is a bit more of an exciting week, and so hopefully we'll keep this down to less than 5 minutes. There's quite a bit to talk about that we see in the market and the actions. Several tenders, several price movements, and also the quantity that we've seen over the last 2 months has been just exceptional. So with that, I'm just going to kind of start and hit the main points. First, obviously, there's been a key election in Malaysia which switched parties. This is going to have potential effects in the trade and definitely a piece to watch. And it's the first change in ruling party for 61 years. From there, we can go to 3 key tenders. And it's pretty amazing that there's this much business happening all at once. With the Philippines, Iraq, and of course the Korea market had a tender that was very interesting. In the Philippines, the tender starts on the 22nd for 250,000 tons, and this is in conjunction with the opening of rice. This is just for internal storage, and so we just see a lot of action occurring. In Iraq, it's been some of the same things we've seen in the past. We've seen them buy South American rice this last week on the May 5th tender. They took Uruguay, Argentina, and conditionally some Paraguayan rice. This was actually higher priced than a lot of the other offers from Asia. And interestingly, almost in the opposite case, the Korean tender, which is maybe a highlight of what's to come later this year, they took 20,000 tons of Chinese and 50,000 tons of Vietnamese short grain. As we've been saying, in the short grain, medium grain market, Japonica, there is going to be a major shift this year, and this is probably the key to it as business is taken out of places such as Vietnam and Cambodia. We hear conditionally that both Cambodia and Vietnam have very large medium grain exportable quantities. Vietnam as much as 1 million metric tons, Cambodia perhaps as much as 500,000 metric tons. This follows the U.S. having about 500,000 acres in California and about 300,000 acres in the South. So overall supplies are extremely large, especially with the Australians having 2 good crops back to back. So we're a bit negative long term, especially as the U.S. crop comes off in September in the medium grain prices. And for the traders who are looking to sell, now's a good time to sell. And for the buyers, if you can delay purchases, it's probably a good thing in this specific piece. Going from there, I'm just going to take a little bit of a sidebar, and we're going to talk a little bit about prices and movements. First, let's talk about movements, because I think that's what's affecting prices. So while the first quarter was actually one of the slower quarters we've seen in history, since about March 1st, we've seen an aggressive move in shipments. So we've gone from a very slow start to now what I would say is the best 1/3 of the year we've had in history. So just if you look at table 3, we're showing right now almost a 6% increase on last year's record trade. This is led by really India and Thailand again. India is doing a huge amount so far just through May, over 4 million metric tons, and Thai is just right there at 4 million. So a huge amount of trade after a very slow start, and it's definitely pressuring prices. We should break the record if we don't slow down dramatically in the second half of the year. It's really going to be a good year for the trade. And that's been really Indonesia, the Philippines, both private and public, and of course the Chinese normal trade, with Africa keeping up its normal heavy shipments as well. So what has that done to price? Well, obviously prices are a bit stronger. We're showing up on the year that Thai is $53 stronger. Vietnamese is $108 stronger. Much higher prices this year. Pakistan's up 45, India is up 25, and the US market is up 143. So that's very interesting that the heavy demand is pushing prices. We also look at prices, we see that Thai is about $20 lower than Viet today. That's a significant discount. It's about $10 lower than Pakistan, but India is probably the cheapest origin right now, which is probably why shipments are just so aggressive at $415 versus $440. There also is, of course, a secondary issue that we expect next year is really going to have an effect, which is the fact that U.S. is still trading at $605 versus a $440 Asian type price. having a $160 roughly spread is not conducive to trade, especially when the Asian qualities have come up so much. So we're going to continue to see pressure into the Latin American customers from Asia. You should see that. And with a high, much heavier U.S. crop being planted right now, both in medium grain and long grain, this is going to pressure this region. We expect this spread to contract significantly over the next several months. Now, what could cause a little wildness? I mean, this is a wild market. You have of course, oil going over $70 a barrel. We have not seen this for years. Really not an upward movement like this since the 2017 run. So while rice stocks are exceptionally high, as are the major grain crops, very high, which would not be conducive to a price run. In fact, prices probably should be off. The political instability with the Iranian and Israeli issue occurring, the oil price, and other factors are really causing some chaos on will it be supply and demand, or will it be some political instability. So it's a very volatile market. We've seen a lot of changes this year. The report goes through this in much more details with specific bidder prices and a much longer discussion on some of these key points. It's an extremely interesting week. There's a lot going on, heavy shipments, and we're just moving slowly towards an amazing year. With that, I'd like to, of course, invite you guys to the World Conference. It's going to be October 10th in Hanoi. Just be another opportunity for all of our friends to get together. It looks like I'll also be in Asia towards the beginning of June, and perhaps able to see some of our clients and friends there on that trip. With that, I'm going to sign off, and again, it's Jeremy Zwinger, and this is the third Rice Trader Summary for May 14th, and it's just a pleasure to be able to talk to you.